Hi, I'm Erin Marcus, former corporate executive turned entrepreneur and founder and CEO of Conquer Your Business. Welcome to the Ready Yet podcast. We're excited to bring you more than 100 episodes of interviews and insights designed to help entrepreneurs get the financial and emotional freedom they need in order to build a business and a life they're proud of. All right. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ready Yet podcast. My guest today, Diane Helbig. I'm excited. We have too much fun laughing at ourselves because that's all you can do. Otherwise, what's your other option, really? But I can't wait to share your insights and everything with the world and your approach to it, because I think you do have to have fun with all this so that you don't go crazy. So before we get into all that, why don't you tell everyone who you are, what you do, all the
I am Diane Helbig. I am a business advisor and trainer. So short story is I advise small business owners to get the nonsense out of their way. And I train everybody on sales and soft skills.
Love it. And I have a hard time with this idea that they call it soft skills. It makes me, because it minimizes its importance.
Oh,
and maybe that's just me projecting hard assness instead of ease and flow and grace. It is what it is, right? But when I hear the term soft skills, to me, that makes it sound as a nice to have instead of the fact that this is a have to.
That's so interesting. See, the same word, different meanings,
right.
Different contexts. That's
right.
Very interesting. Yeah, I get that. I never would have looked at it that way before, but I get it now, which is going to be tough for me.
Now I've screwed. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. I have ruined it for you.
So true. I'm screwed. But thanks.
Screwed that up for you. But so we were chatting before we hit record here about, as we're trying to be like, okay, what can we really hone in on to share that would have an impact? And this is something we've both seen over and over again. We talk about it a lot. I'm sure it's tripped us up ourselves over and over again. That's why we're here. This idea of people being worried and fearful, and add 700 other synonyms and adjectives to sales and being salesy.
Yes.
So what are you watching happen?
Oh.
You could just leave it at that. I get it. I totally agree with you. That was it.
So I'm watching a couple of things. I'm watching a lot of, actually, a lot of women. There's some men, but a lot of women who will call me up. Like, they will say to me, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to seem like I'm manipulating. I don't want to be this whole person. I just don't like the whole idea. And what I say to them is, good, don't. It doesn't work. You don't like it. They don't like it being done to them. Can we just knock it off?
So I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Because I just made a connection. I just had an aha moment.
Ooh.
I received, this is the downside of what you're talking about. So when you feel that way, and I also have that conversation a lot, when you're so anti-sales, and now we add in AI tools that make you think you could program 9 auto prompts that would result in somebody saying, here, take my $10,000. This is where we have problems. And I say that because the other day, I got a text message. This business has sent me 9 text messages, of one every other day for the last several weeks, because I bought a ticket to an expo a year ago, hadn't heard from them. But they got an AI tool and they put me in their Autobot. I don't even know what they do for a living. I will never hire them. But the one that had me going was the one the other day that came in. I guess you're too busy. I'm going to leave you alone for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I'm like, oh, be still my heart. I'm not going to hear
Thank you.
But so when we combine
Yeah.
Autobot AI technology that makes people believe it can sell for you, and on the other hand, people who have fears and a lack of soft skills that are both unfounded.
Yep. It's a
disaster.
disaster. It is an absolute, you are so right. It is an absolute disaster. We have to let go of a lot of this nonsense. And part of the problem is we're still watching people behave badly,
Yes.
like at networking events and when they reach out to us and all this ridiculousness. And so we still have this feeling that we're supposed to behave that way. And because no one's stopping and looking and saying, okay, but is that working? Well,
Oh
no.
my God, I reply to them, by the way. What they won't answer me. When I get the hey girl, hey messages on Facebook, I'll reply and say, I gotta know, I'm totally being honest here. You look adorable. I actually use the product you're selling. I get it from someone else. Who's teaching you that this works? I really want to know, what are your numbers? And nobody will tell me.
Because it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. It's so weird. It blows my mind that people will continue to engage in this behavior. And I don't know, it's a feel good. Someone told them that the more business cards you collect, the better you're
It's so,
doing. Or
and I try to come from empathy because a lot of these people are not seasoned business
true.
owners. So I try to come from empathy. Somebody is teaching them this. And truthfully, okay, so the tagline for this podcast is you'll never do what it takes until you become the person it takes to do it.
Ooh, I love that.
This is what we're talking about.
Yes.
You, right? You
Yes.
have to become the person who got over your money issues because there's nothing wrong with money. There's zero things wrong with money. You got to get over your visibility issue. Like you have, if this is where you're stuck, you haven't done the inner work.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly right. You have to know that whatever it is you're selling has value,
Yeah.
right? That it has worth, that there is a dollar amount attached to that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
There's a dollar amount attached to everything, right? And then for me, it's if you think about, okay, your job is not to convince someone that they need what you have to sell. Your
Right.
job is to have a conversation with someone and learn as much as you can about them. And then if there's a connection, tell them what the connection is because it'll make sense to them and you'll both walk down the same road, right? But this other, I don't know,
They
dog and
have the
pony
wrong
shit.
definition, right? They just have the wrong definition of
Yeah.
sales. Too many
Yeah.
people believe sales is something you do to somebody to
Right.
manipulate them and convince them to
Yeah.
give you money. And
Yep.
as soon as you see sales as taking instead of giving,
You're screwed.
you're screwed.
Yeah. Which is why you don't want to do it. Who would?
Who would want to do that? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, we get it. I understand you don't want to do it. I don't want to do it either. Don't.
Then just don't do it. So what do you, I know what I give it advice. What do you tell people to start that ball rolling in a different direction?
I tell them to let go of the whole idea of selling, to not to switch from being in sales mode to being in curious mode.
Oh, nice.
So, really, your job is to learn. That's it. Period. It's not to sell something. It's to learn. You when you go to a networking event, you want to learn about a couple of people. When you and then follow up with them and relationship build. When you're prospecting, all you want is a meeting so that you can have a conversation. You're not trying to make a sale. So it's turning all those things that are bothering people, it's saying, okay, stop doing it because it's bad. It doesn't work. You don't want it done to you. So just flip it around and just say, I'm just curious. I would just like to get to know you because that's really all you're doing because you don't know whether you want to sell to them
That's
or
a
whether
very
you have
big
something
piece
they
of
need, right? They could be a jerk, right?
maybe you don't want them. What I like that you're doing, and interestingly enough, I've seen a correlation with some mindset work that I've been working on. So it used to be I would see a lot of people who taught sales mindset try to help people change their definition of sales. And I agree. You're right. Like sales is of service. And I get it.
Yeah.
The constant space repetition of changing the subconscious programming, it's neuroscience. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But what your approach is to say, rather than try to take several decades of subconscious programming
Yeah.
and flip it in a minute,
Yeah.
what if I just labeled it and said it was something else and made it easy.
And it really is. So it's interesting that you say that, because really what I'm talking about is tactical, because the mindset will change
It'll
when you
follow.
change your behavior, right?
100%.
So
Yeah.
what I try and say to people is just let it go. Just don't sell. Just let it go. Just do this instead. Engage in this behavior. Do this thing. It's more natural. It's more comfortable. It's more appealing to other people. Just do this.
And one of the things that I always tried to do in my last business, I had a job working with families with aging parents, and that we would help them downsize. And there was a lot of times when I would go on a consultation, the
Yeah.
word was completely left for a second. When I would go on a consultation, it would be a situation where I would call, there was no job for me to get, meaning it was too small of a situation. It didn't make sense for them
Mm-hmm.
to hire me.
Mm-hmm.
But not wanting to leave, not wanting to say, sorry, you're not worth my time and I'm not worth your money. I just created a leave behind that had all the resources that
Yeah.
I actually used.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a huge sales tool to
Mm-hmm.
have at my ready all the people I might refer you to if I'm
Yeah.
not the right fit.
Yeah. And so what's so great about that is that really is a giving mindset, and you get referrals from those people. So
Oh, they're your
eventually,
raving fans.
yeah, because you were
I,
honest, you were giving, you didn't leave them high and dry, but I'm not the best resource for you, but here's some
Yeah,
other
I had
people.
several
Yeah.
charities that would do pickups if they knew I would vet it. And I'd be like, here's his number. You call him and said, Aaron said yes.
Yes.
And he knows he'll come out and do it.
Yeah.
He knows I won't steer him wrong.
Yes.
And they were the nicest, most grateful. They always gave my name out to everybody.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't
Because
have to
they
pay
know
me
you're
for
going to
this.
do right by people.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's about. If you want to be in business for the long haul, just treat people well, care about them, help them problem solve, whether it has to do with you or not. Just be in their corner. I
Yeah.
had a woman say to me, she's so funny. She read my book and then she actually implemented what
God
I
forbid the 1% of
book
people
about. I
actually
know,
do
right?
something with it.
Swear to God. And she's telling me about it as we're walking into an event. And I'm looking at her like, wow, you actually did that? That's like amazing. Anyway, then later I was talking to her and she said, you know what? I just say to myself, those aren't my dollars. I know, right?
This, right? Because think of it. How much energy, this was one of the things somebody showed me once, and I'm like, oh my God, you're right. How much energy does it take to let go of something? Nothing.
Unless you
To
put a whole
open your
bunch of yuck
hand.
on it. Right.
It takes no energy. How
Yeah.
much energy does it take to chase and grasp and
Oh,
hold on so tight?
yep. And try and create something that's never going to be there. And I even wrote an article about it because she was like, I just say to myself, those are not my dollars. And so it is liberating for
She's
her.
nicer than I am. I say, not my circus, not my monkey.
Okay, there is that. But that's when you don't want to deal with those people.
Not my dollars. And one of the things that the words that I used to, I want to do enough in my marketing, education-based marketing and relationship building,
Mm-hmm.
so that once we are having any kind of conversation about officially working together,
Mm-hmm.
it's a confirmation conversation, not a convincing
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
Like you do this way before you get on that phone.
Yeah. My belief is give away everything, right? Because the people who you want to do business with are going to read it or see it or whatever, and they're going to say, wow, that person really knows me. That person really knows their stuff. I want to work with that person. And those are the only
Well,
people you're talking to anyway.
and there's from a sales strategy perspective, I always figured that also leaves them with the feeling of, oh my God, if she did this for me for free, what will she do if I pay her?
Right. Yeah. But see, that's understanding value,
Yeah.
understanding worth, understanding everyone is not a target market, right? You're not going to do business with everybody. You don't want to do business with everybody. What you're trying to do is figure out who your people are.
I was just watching a video, Kyle Cease, he wrote The Illusion of Money. I love his stuff. And he was talking about the difference between butterflies and caterpillars. And he said it took him a long time to realize I'm a butterfly looking for other butterflies. I'm not looking for caterpillars to try to convince them to be butterflies.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
looking
great.
for, right? I thought
Yes.
that was because there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with being a caterpillar.
No.
It doesn't make
Right.
anyone right or wrong. I'm just a
Right.
butterfly looking for butterflies. He said caterpillars are very happy being caterpillars.
Absolutely.
I don't have to force them to become
Nope.
a butterfly
Right.
so that they fit me.
But see, isn't that's the thing? People have been trained to believe that their job is to convince. I've had people say to me, well, if I could just convince them, how do I convince them that
You
they need
don't.
this? Like, you don't.
You don't want to work with those people.
You,
That was the most freeing aha moment for me in sales. And it happened completely by accident. So, in that last business, I was going on a consultation and I walked into a house with a woman who was like instant rapport. She was so adorable. We were just laughing. It was almost like hanging out with a friend I hadn't seen in forever. And when we finally sat down to talk about what we were going to talk about, all I said to her, because we were in that mode, was, all right, what's going on? And I'm like, that was the most fun I've ever had because normally I would try to get this person to sit down and then I would go into my monologue, having never barely bothered to ask them anything except their right, the wrong way.
yeah.
And how freeing was it once I stopped? This was the thing. Because I have a journalism degree, because I have an MBA in marketing, I was convinced, because I'm semi-articulate, I was convinced, very wrongfully, that there was something, if I could just figure out what to say,
That's right.
I could, quote, get them
Yep.
to buy from me.
Yep.
And now I
And
don't worry
guess
about
what?
it.
You don't. So you are more confident, more centered, more approachable, more connective, because that is not the thing hanging over your head.
I,
Because that's about you. When we're
exactly.
thinking about
It was
making a
all about
sale,
me.
exactly. We have to flip it around. And what I tell people is, guess what? The more you're talking, the less they're listening because you're not talking about anything that matters to them. So they have tuned you out. So all this great whatever you're doing is falling on deaf ears.
And,
Okay,
and
good
what is
for you.
it? Ask a better question, right?
Yes.
Just ask a better question.
Just ask a question. For God's sake, just ask a. Listen, there's a lot of questions you need to ask. The mistake people make is they don't ask any questions. They walk in and they just start
And they
talking.
just start. Mhm. And some of that is nerves. And some of that is here's my theory. There's two things that will screw you up in life, whether it's your relationships, your money, your business, your health, insecurity and desperation.
Yeah.
If you're insecure, you're not going to be confident enough. And if you're desperate for the sale,
Yes.
you're going to screw it. So whether you're picking a partner or a job or a dog,
So
insecurity,
true.
desperation.
That's what they say, right? So if you're dating, stop looking to get married and
Right,
you'll find the perfect match, right?
right,
And you'll have fun doing it because you won't be on the hunt.
right. Attached to that outcome. What can I get out of
Exactly. This is
it?
what we do.
And here's the thing. I say this with all the empathy because when you're trying to pay the bills and get your balls,
Sure.
I get it.
Yeah.
And people, it's hard to let go of the story you think is going to work to try something that has unforeseen results for you
Sure.
and believe that's actually a shorter path.
Absolutely. And you still have to ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing working? And that's a big question because do I have clients I can't stand? Do I have people who are beating me up over price? So I'm going through this whole value game in my head. Do I hate it when the phone rings and it's them? There's a lot too. Is it working or is it not working? So what I say is you get to choose how you spend your time. You can spend it being productive or you can spend it being active. I prefer productivity. And the things that we're talking about, honestly, if you continue to do what you're doing and you're not getting the results you want, here's the other problem with it. you're actually telling the universe that's what you want. So that's what you're going to get.
I love how you said active versus productive. I have to shoot my video yet, but there is this woodpecker, and he's very pretty, and I love him dearly. And his newfound pastime is about 5:30 in the morning to attack full on the metal flashing around the top of my chimney. I will tell you, he is very active.
Yes,
He
but
is
he is
very, right.
not
He is
productive.
very active. He is making a lot of racket.
Oh,
He is getting a lot of attention. He is getting zero bugs.
yeah.
He's getting zero
He's going to
bugs.
starve to death
He's
that way.
going to starve to death.
Okay.
But it's right. It's so true.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how big and loud and beautiful and all of the things. Do not confuse active with productive.
Do not, because you will starve to death.
You will starve to death. Luckily, I put a feeder out there. So
I know, you're so nice. Right. There's other ways.
I'm like, dude, right here, just turn around.
But for humans, right? And when we're selling, seriously.
Yeah.
And so it which creates more desperation, which creates more
Oh, it's
stress, which
horrible.
creates more nonsense. So just flip the script a little bit. The mindset will follow.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset changes take longer. Just try different activities, try different steps, and see, try different words.
Yes.
And see how it works. And I'm telling you, and this, you will notice that you will have more joy and more results because you will be connecting with the right people at the right time who will value you and what you bring to the table.
So how did you get involved in this world? How did this become your thing?
Oh my gosh. So I was always in small business, first leadership, then sales. My father was a salesman, very successful. And in late 2005, he passed away suddenly. And I decided I needed to be the victim of my own decisions, not the victim of someone else's. So I just did some research and thought, you know what, this is what I need to do. And the reason why I launched my business was because I was so tired of watching small business owners struggle with selling, with operations, with employee issues, with whatever it was. And I just thought, this is criminal. They don't have to be going through this. And I watched someone actually in a sales appointment beg for the work after the person had said yes. And I thought, that breaks my heart. So I decided this was my mission in life, was to flip the script and help people change the way they were behaving, really, so they could get the results they want.
Love it. So random questions. What are you most proud of in all of this?
In all of this or in
All
all
of
of
what you're doing.
life?
Either
Oh,
way, go bigger. Either way.
the thing I'm most proud of is my children, my adult children, because they are incredible humans, and I'm hoping I had something to do with that.
You never know. As we were discussing aging parents earlier.
So true. We'll see. Well, my son already thinks that he's already got the plan. So he's in his 20s, and he told my husband and I that he has the plan that we're going to go live in his house because it's one story. And yeah, he's got the whole thing. And my husband and I just look at each other and go, did we ask him to do this?
When did you gave birth to a high D, high C?
Oh my God. It's so weird. Like he's got this whole thing planned out, and we're like, we're not leaving this house. You will when you can't climb the stairs. Okay.
When do you think that's
We're not
happening?
addled yet. Like, I think we can probably figure. Anyway,
That's
so
awesome.
God bless him. He cares. In this work, I think the thing I am most proud of is watching the people I've worked with really grow and try new things and succeed at new things and realize that they really have the ability to solve their problems.
I say that a lot when I think about what I get to do and who I get to work with. Who gets to do this?
I know.
Who gets to do this?
I know.
I
My
love
favorite thing is that I have a client who said to me, you sit, this is what she says to me all the time, you sit on my shoulder. And I just ask myself, what would Diane say? And then I do it. And I just thought, okay, mission accomplished. Because if I'm in your head, that means you've learned the things that, and you can problem solve on your own. That's the goal, that you can do this.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely. So if people want to continue this conversation with you and learn more how you can help them, how do they find you?
The easiest way is to go to helbigenterprises.com because everything's there.
Nice.
Right? So.
Marketing 101. Single, easy call to action. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You win. I laugh because sometimes when I interview people, they rattle off phone numbers and things like that. And that's just not knowing, right?
Yeah.
Helbig
Enterprises.
And it's all there.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure we have it in the show notes so that you're just a click away from everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you for hanging out with me for a while. I love having these conversations. I absolutely agree with you. It's heartbreaking to see brilliant people who want to be of service get stuck on something that doesn't have to cause them this much angst.
Yes, exactly.
I totally agree with you. I love it.
That's why we're here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Ready Yet podcast. I truly enjoy bringing these stories of success and inspiration to you. Please join us in our mission to empower entrepreneurs to be in charge of their businesses and in charge of their lives by sharing this with anyone you know who would benefit from our tactical and motivating advice, leaving us a review, and letting us know if there are any particular topics you would really appreciate hearing about. See you next time.